You're listening to the Jules and Coffee Hour, sharing the stories of Blizzard gamers around the world. Pull up a chair. We're glad you're here. Welcome to episode 15 of the Jules and Coffee Hour. I'm Jules.
And I'm Coffee, and we're going to be talking about a little self-care.
Self-care.
Self-care. Gonna be getting our hair did, gonna be getting our nails done. Whatever self-care means to you, it's happening.
Get your muscles worked out.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
massages, little bubble bathing.
Oof.
Maybe.
Now you're talking.
This
Don't
sounds so
stop.
good right now.
Don't stop.
We're having a moment. Don't stop. Yeah, thank you guys so much for being back with us for another episode of this wonderful podcast. I want to talk about a little bit of a little email that we got. And we've talked about this on the show, saying, hey guys, we always appreciate hearing from you and hearing what you have to say about the show. And a couple days after, I think it was the day after we did episode 14, in our little mailbox popped in the following email, and it said, hey, Jules and Coffee. Love the podcast. That's about it. Just wanted you to know. Thanks.
That's great.
Pat.
I mean, that's perfect, though. It doesn't have to be a long mail or message or comment or note. I just love hearing that people are listening and that they're liking it and they're enjoying it. I mean, I want to hear if they don't like it, too, obviously. But
yeah,
something just as simple as that little note is great. It makes me happy. Makes me super happy.
It warms your heart to hear, like, hey, I really like your stuff. And it, like, literally, I read this, I grinned like a fiend, and I always forward them right to Coffee so he can see them too. And because it goes to the podcast mailbox I have access to, but he does not. So I forward it to him, and it's just one of those bright moments that just goes, yeah, that's awesome. And it just took, a couple minutes of someone's day. So thank you, Pat, whoever you are. We appreciate you for listening to the show. We appreciate you taking the time to let us know you're listening. And, hey, if you're out there listening to anybody or you're looking at someone's great work or art or whatever it is, know that your impact of sharing your feedback does matter. It is appreciated a lot.
It does. I was explaining it to someone earlier. I forgot who said it. Someone said, "I appreciate you so much and thank you for your stream." And I'm just like, "Well, you got it all wrong. Just you literally got it all wrong. You don't have to thank us for anything. We're literally here for you." It's like, we should be thanking you guys for willingly wanting to hang out with us all day and watch our content and that sort of stuff. There's just, I feel like I should be the one thanking you. So, and I am.
I get that. Like, so the thing about it is, like, what there's basically saying to you is thank you for your time. Thank you for your talent. Thank you for the entertainment that you provide to us. Essentially for free. I mean, it's a total choice for a streamer to do that and know that not everybody is or can subscribe, and you do that willingly and you go in and you do it. It's the same thing with podcasting. But I mean, I always feel like I have to thank someone who makes me laugh, like, or makes me smile or makes me feel something good because they took the time to do that, right? And so I get it. I get why people are like, Coffee, thank you so much for coming on and streaming today. Because, man, you could be sitting there with a face mask on or sitting in a spa somewhere or a sauna getting some self-care.
Self-care action. I could be going for a jog or like a run or something.
Or maybe, just maybe, streaming is somewhat self-care to you too.
Maybe it is.
Maybe.
This is all good questions.
Yes. Okay. So let's leap right into the topic of the week, which is about self-care, and we're going to get into it right now. It's time for the topic of the week. All right. Self-care is this week's topic of the week. And we were talking about this prior to doing the show. And someone in the chat room said, "What's self-care?" And I said, "Well, that's a really good question to ask."
It's a hard thing to
So
answer too, because it can be so many things.
yes. So let's start there. Where do you put the definition of self-care to you?
For me, it's anything that makes me feel good. I know that's pretty broad, but it's just anything that makes me feel good, that you have to invest a certain amount of time in.
Mm-hmm.
That's self-care to me, and it's hard because I think we're conditioned to be selfless and help others, and be there for other people, and that's amazing, right? That's why love exists. That's why the world goes round. That's why people are nice, and that's why people are friends, because you're there for other people. But if you're always there for other people and you're not paying any attention to yourself, then you start to degrade over time. You start to feel bad or tired or upset. It's just sometimes it's subconscious, but that it happens. It just happens. You have to take time for yourself, whatever that means, whatever that may be. To do that thing for yourself that makes you feel good, that regenerates your batteries, brings you back to real life. But for me, it's just anything that makes you feel good. And for me, lots of times that's spending time with my wife, like whether it be just like watching a show on the couch or going out to dinner with her. That's self-care for me. You brought up a good point though. I think streaming a lot of times is self-care for me as well. If I haven't streamed in a while, I get a little grumpy, I get a little down, and I need to get that stream, and I need to let out some energy. I think streaming for me is a lot like some people go to the gym or they go for a run and they just like expel a bunch of energy. For me, if I have a lot of pent up energy, I stream, and I try to use that to kind of, shake it out and exercise a little bit. So
no, that is, I think that's awesome. And my definition of self-care is very similar to yours. When you think about your life as a series of this is an analogy I've used in podcasting before, is that you think of your life as a series of buckets, right? You've got, for those of us who have jobs, there's a work bucket, there's a family bucket, there's an errands bucket, there's children, there's obligations, and all of that. And you're putting energy. It's kind of similar to spoon theory, where you use the spoons to whatever, the spoon theory is basically you get a certain number of spoons a day to expel into energy. And if you just use them all up in one way, you have no more spoons left for it. Go up, look up Google spoon theory if you haven't heard of it before. And a lot of us, especially those of us who work full time, you work in 40 hours a week and you have a family and you have a lot of obligations, it can be a very difficult thing to say, I am taking time for myself, because where in the day do you have that time to give?
Yeah.
Right?
Right. You're working so hard on other things, so it's tough.
Yeah. I mean, my butt rolls out of bed at 7 a.m. I start work at 9. And so I get up in the morning and I'm preparing my breakfast and my lunch for the day. I work all day, come home after 5. Like tonight, I came home after 5. The cat needed attention because I'd been gone all day. I needed
food.
He
was letting you know about that too.
He did. He like yelped at me on the stairs as soon as I got home, which meant I've got to sit down and give him time. Which is great. I love my cat and I would love to spend time with him, but I'm like, I have 45 minutes to spend time with you, set up my green screen, eat food because I'm starving, change out of my work clothes, put more makeup on, do my hair, and literally transition from work brain to podcast brain.
Yeah.
And so, my definition of self-care, like tonight after we get done, sometimes is literally doing nothing.
Right.
Because
You've
that's the
been
treat that I'm
rolling
giving
on,
myself.
all cylinders all day long, like a
Yeah.
steam engine, and
Yeah.
you need to just do nothing for a bit, kind of decompress.
Yeah. And then sometimes that is I'm going to work on my diamond painting or my chainmail, or I'm just going to give an hour to just reading social media because I can, damn it.
Mm-hmm.
And, all of those things. But I'm going to ask you kind of a loaded question.
Oh boy.
It's not mean in any way. It's just kind of maybe a loaded question. Is self-care to you sometimes a dirty word, or makes you feel uncomfortable when someone brings up the word self-care?
Sometimes, I'll be honest, occasionally it is when I'm talking to Emma, because sometimes I know I acknowledge that I need to do something to kind of regen my batteries or get back in the right mindset, do a little self-care for myself.
Yeah.
And that may not necessarily work with her schedule, because she's gone a lot of the day. She's at work, and when she comes home, she has things in mind for me to do. Um, just because I work from home, I'm doing a lot of other types of work. I mean, I'm not just home like sleeping all day or something, right? I may even be home playing video games, right? And that in her head is like, well, he doesn't need self-care, he's at home playing video games. And I mean, me playing video games is a different type of self-care, I think. At the end of the day, sometimes I just need to, as you said, do nothing, kind of disconnect. And I guess self-care becomes a dirty word when I think it may not necessarily mesh with her schedule sometimes. So that's what I think about.
And the reason, and this is not calling you out specifically, I think that a lot of us do this, and I wanted to bring it up because, like, for me especially, self-care sometimes for people, just they scoff at it, or they think it's wasteful or selfish to say I want to do something for myself, right? I want my time, me time. Oh my goodness, like, and I think about all of the people that I know who are parents, and it is work, and especially working parents, and that is to it's a struggle to get them to understand that that time that they need for themselves is important. And they say they want it, but it's like, well, my job comes first, my spouse comes first, my kids come first. I get thrown into the mix maybe for an hour on a Thursday when I watched The Bachelorette or something like that, and I've heard people talk about that.
But here's the thing, like, are they actually giving their best self to their spouse or to their job if they're not taking care of themselves?
Exactly. And that is why I brought this up, is because we claim that this is a selfish, dirty thing, dirty word. And or it's like, clutch pearls gasp kind of word, like, how dare you want to take time for yourself, how very American of you. Like, I've heard that too. Yeah. Right, and what I find so interesting is that in the last several years, and especially how much social media has factored into our lives, is that the conversation about self-care becomes more vocal and more like, people are talking about it more practice. The dawn of Instagram is like, everything about that is pretty much self-care, right? It's like the ideal utopian world where someone is living in bliss and happiness because it's all staged and filters.
There's sunshine and just, if you look at someone's Instagram, you'd think they lived on the beach like 24/7 or something like that.
Yeah.
Everything's just perfect.
And I look at you look at my my Twitter sometimes, and I post a lot of pictures with me and my cat, or it looks like the idyllic setting sometimes where I'm just like, oh yeah, Jules is taking a lot of time for herself, where I've literally just been like, I need to do this, and then it just
yeah,
but
no one sees that.
No one sees that because it's not posted. And it's interesting. And so that's why I think it's a good conversation to have. It's we have this thing as Americans where we chastise and look down upon people for not quote unquote working hard.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, laziness is not a celebrated, laziness has such a bad connotation to it, you know. Whereas some people will like post on Twitter like, I haven't even got out of bed yet and it's 7 p.m. and I'm like, good for you.
Do it. I support it.
But could I have done that 10 years ago, 5 years ago with someone who said, I didn't even get my ass out of bed today and I feel great, and then would be like, "Oh, you lazy SOB. What the hell are you doing with your life? Didn't you, get anything done, blah blah blah." Because I got myself into positions where I burnt myself out.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? It's I guess depending on the person, we have different opinions about self-care, right?
Yeah.
Like some people, and this, maybe it's bad to have these preconceptions of people, but some people, you're going to see them not getting out of bed till like 2 or 3 in the afternoon and think to yourself, man, again, this person is just, I can't get him to do anything. He's lazy. He doesn't work hard, things like that. But then other people do that and you're like, good for them. That's great.
Yeah.
They really needed that, and it's like, maybe that's why self-care is sometimes a dirty word, because we don't know how people are going to conceive what that looks like for us.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot more misunderstanding about mental health as well, which, someone who doesn't get out of bed all day, every day, yeah, people are going to chalk that up to, automatic laziness. But a lot of times it's a lot more than that. It's depression, anxiety, both. And we just don't know. But the perception and the things like, so I just look back at it from my childhood and the things that kind of, so I don't know, did you ever have this as a kid? I remember as a little kid, a lot of times where I would just get bored, just bored of, like, I didn't have anything to do and I wanted something to do. And I would walk up to my mom and I would be like, Mom, I'm bored. And maybe this is just a Jules thing, but I wasn't real good about, because I would read a ton and I'd blow through books like you wouldn't believe. And I just like, I would like, now I don't know what the word bored means, but I distinctly remember as a kid saying I was bored a lot.
I don't think I was ever bored as a kid, to be honest.
Really?
But for sure, I can't remember. I don't think I've ever been bored. Like, there's just always a million things to do. I mean,
yeah.
In recent memory, there's no way I've been bored, like, ever.
Yeah. I don't even remember what it was that I wasn't doing or whatever. I just remember as a kid that I would just be like, I'm bored.
So as a kid, I would make, whenever I was bored, I would grab action figures and make like new stories, like with the action figures. I remember that.
Yeah.
And I could never be bored if there was like a new story happening with an action figure.
Yeah. That's the born performer in you.
With action figures. A action figure performer.
And so I know that as a young child, I was one that was like, I'm bored, and that blah, blah, blah. And now I don't even, like I said, don't even know what that means. I don't know what the word bored is. And so the funny part about that is that there are a lot of people out there who just, I've seen it. I've watched it where they're just like, I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know how to entertain myself or do things to make me happy. And that's going back to what you said earlier on in the show, is I do things for self-care to make me happy. And I have to say to you all, like, it's okay to want to do things that make you happy. And sometimes I wonder if that, I don't know what to do to make me happy, is a byproduct of you're not allowed to do things that make you happy.
Yeah. I mean, if I didn't do things that made me happy, there's no way I could like stream video games. You know,
Right.
like it's just I'd be too grumpy or tired, or if I didn't spend time away from streaming and content creation to make myself energized and excited and happy and positive, there's no way I could like hop into a stream and be like myself, you know, because myself would be a salty, grumpy boy, and you know, it would just be like the most unpleasant stream ever, right? So you got to do stuff for
This,
yourself to make yourself happy.
yeah. I mean, you understand what your personal limits are too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if a lot of us in our culture, in our society actually do understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I
They
don't think
just
we take.
go until just
Yeah.
burnt
Yeah.
out.
It's the same thing, like, so if you've ever gone on, like, if you've changed your eating habits or gone on a quote unquote diet, and you realize that when you change your food intake, um you are hungrier because you're not
Mm-hmm.
eating the same things that you are, and you have this new realization of what your body is doing. You're actually feeling hunger, and you're recognizing that this is what hunger feels like versus like I'm hungry because I'm bored and going into the cabinet and eating a bunch of chips. um I think that that is something that happens a lot with um when people are going on like different meal plans. And I think it's the same thing when it comes to mental awareness as well. Like, you don't quite pay attention to what your body and your mind is doing, that sometimes it gets so bad that stress levels and everything like that manifest in physical ailments as well. Like, I have I have this thing, like, when I get super, super, super stressed out, my neck and shoulders tighten up,
Mm-hmm.
and,
I have
like,
the
to the
same
point
thing.
where
Right up in
yeah, and
here.
it gets so bad that you can't stretch them anymore, like, they
Yep.
just
It just hurts.
it hurts, and that is a physical manifestation of that stress, and I'm like, "Oh, I didn't think I was that stressed out, but I guess I am."
Did I tell you that we bought some CBD oil based on
Did
your
you?
yeah, and I've been using it
Tell me
right up in
about
here,
yeah?
and
Has it
it's
helped?
I think it's helped quite a bit. Yeah.
That's
Like
great.
2 days ago I was locked up right here, and
Yeah.
I put the CBD oil on 2 nights in a row, and I like actually have full range of motion here now. It's pretty interesting.
That's awesome. We talked about this on a previous episode.
Yep.
I use CBD oil for anxiety, and it's a life changer. And if you don't know, definitely go out there and do some research on Google for sure. But the CBD oil is the legal. You can buy it on the internet side of the marijuana plant, the hemp plant, but it's not the stuff that makes you high.
Mhm.
Um, it works for pain, it works for stress and anxiety. Some people put it into their coffee. Um, no pun intended. And some coffees put them on their coffee. Uh,
In and around my coffee, just
and on.
in, on, around, all of it.
And honestly, like, that to me sometimes is self-care for me, is like,
Hmm.
I will take some CBD oil, and it allows me to chill the F out if I'm just a wound up ball of anxious
Yeah.
energy, which can sometimes be like, it helps my sleep, it helps my, just my general physical being. Um but
Yeah.
it's the thing about, like, you seeing that you're locked up, like, you probably, I'm assuming, didn't really see the signs getting to that point, or thinking, it's not that bad,
Right.
or
Until it was too late. Just boom.
until it was too late.
Locked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I talked about this with Workhorse a while ago. Workhorse, the owner of HeroesHearth, and when I was working from home for a while, and I was doing like all the podcasting stuff and everything like that, and working from home, I was working a good 10 hours plus a day, because I'd start somewhere around 9 in the morning and usually end up sometime around 9, 10 at night. Taking a break for lunch and dinner, but that's about it. You know, like you just go, 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 go. And I found, because I was working from home, that I would just work all the time, weekends, holidays, evenings, it didn't matter. Like your work is right here and you can do it.
It's so
And
easy
so,
to just keep working because you're
yeah.
in your place of work. Just naturally happens that way.
Or, you know, literally a message comes in and you're just like, oh, I'll just answer that real quick, or
I'll
I'll
just
just
do it
answer that
now.
email real quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you deal with the same thing. And so Workhorse and I had talked about it because he's in the same boat. He works from home. He runs the business from home. He has the print shop and he has everything else he's working on. And he and Breakfast Princess secured that Sundays are no work days. They're just no work days. And I had done the same thing. I'm like, look, on Saturdays are my no work days, which are really hard to do, but I'm going to do it anyway. And it was really difficult to put that into function. But
Yeah.
and I know that you and Emma do this as well. Like you
Oh yeah.
say, hey, Saturdays and Sundays are our time. But did it get to that? Like for me, it literally was, I was just burnt the F out and I needed to say, like, no, I'm not going to respond to that. No, I'm not going. This is my time and I'm going to be selfish about it. Because I got burnt out.
Yeah. It was like
Did it
that
get
for
to
us
that
too.
point for you? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like
That's
that.
what I want to know.
Especially when I first started, because streaming was like a drug. Like I
Yeah.
couldn't stop streaming. I just couldn't stop streaming, and I don't know. I just wanted. I'm still this way. I'm excited about streaming. I have a million ideas floating around in my head that I want to see to the end. Like I want to see
Mm-hmm.
happen. I want to create like so much content on my stream, so many new overlays like floating around and budding and things like that. But when I was first starting, it was just so much, and the like I couldn't think about anything else. So it just started to leak into the weekends. And before I knew it, I was very tired, very burnt out, and it was a lot because it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't just the time I was spent streaming, but the stream would end and then I'd spend another like 3 to 4 hours like building overlays for the stream, and like how could I make the lightsaber like fly into the scene, or like it was just a lot of like just time, so much time. And before I knew it, I realized that I wasn't giving enough time to my wife, and I wasn't taking care of my responsibilities around the house, and
Mm-hmm.
the weekends would come and go, and I realized that I spent most of them like working on stream stuff, and I felt terrible. And yeah, I got burnt out super easy, like when I first
Yeah.
started.
And if you guys don't know Coffee super well, one of the things that he does when he gets an idea is he just latches and it goes, and it just like he has to finish it.
Right.
Has to finish it.
Yeah.
And so because that's the creative mindset. That's the creator mind. It's just like you get obsessive about things, and this is the collective you, not you personally. You get obsessive about things. You can't stop thinking about it. You want to get it done and see it in its completion and share it with the world. And it
Hmm.
becomes very difficult to balance everything else. And so self-care sometimes is less about yourself and more about making sure that you're taking care of the other parts of your life,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
It's
know?
it's
And
interesting. Like when I started to realize that, some of my ideas actually got better because I was so um just rejuvenated after a weekend, that some thoughts that I had trickling around in my brain on like a Friday afternoon kind of simmered, and
yeah.
by the time Monday rolled around, I had something pretty well thought out just in my head, and it was a better idea because of that little break, that little rest period. So
And sometimes we can't allow ourselves to take that rest time,
No,
it's
yeah,
tough. And then you like, you'll rush an idea out and you're like, oh man, if I'd just given it a little bit more time, I could have even done better at that. But it's done now, and that kind of thing. It's just that's a creator mindset. It just happens.
yeah.
But um when you are really working hard and really pushing yourself, it's there's a lot of things you can really do to yourself that are detrimental.
Mm.
And I've tried now. I mean, as I've gotten older and I've lived some life and I've had different phases of my life, the time that I spend, maybe not stressing over these silly little things that I get stressed out over, and maybe doing something that really truly just makes me live in the moment and have fun is so much better time spent than like I I can't even tell you how many hours I've wasted being stressed out over something that
Mm-hmm.
was really inconsequential in the
Yeah,
long run.
yeah. What's the saying? Is like, don't sweat the small stuff, and everything small
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
You
pretty
know.
much everything is. And that I mean, yes, there's been major things in my life that you have to be focused on. Sometimes it literally, but like I can think of times where like everything was coming crashing down, and
Yeah.
I literally could not put myself into a space where I could enjoy anything.
Mm.
And that is horrible. Like, or I felt guilty that I was maybe playing a video game or doing something fun for a little bit, even though it was probably really good for my mental health, because I felt like I didn't deserve it, or it
Mm.
wasn't appropriate. I don't know. I mean, um, yeah, like we do this weird shit to ourselves with our brains, and we can really convince ourselves that time spent on ourselves is selfish and wrong. And I'm here to tell you that's not true.
No, it's really not.
No. If you're a productive member of society and you are, you deserve to have time for yourself.
And whatever you
But
need to do to get you to that level of being a productive member of society, that level of productivity or pleasantness, like, is valid, because
yeah.
it's everyone has their own thing. Whatever you got to
Yeah.
do to get there is a real thing that you should do and value.
I know. And so yeah, so I mean, and I still fight this. Like, so here's the thing I love right now, because now I work 40 hours a week plus, and then I'm doing stuff for HeroesHearth when I get home.
Jules
But
is working like 80 hours a week out here, right? She's just
yeah, well, but one of the things that I am in love with right now when I am home and it's my weekend and I don't have anything going on, is that nap time in the afternoon bliss.
ooh. You're
Let me tell you what.
talking dirty to
Uh,
me right now.
and I know it's getting a little hot in here.
Ooh.
Uh, that like, hey, I may have slept 8 hours last night, but man, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday, and I
Mm.
feel sleepy. And damn it, I'm gonna go lay down and I'm gonna go to sleep. And the cat comes up on the bed and
I was
he
just
lays
gonna
down
say
next to
that
me.
the cat gets involved, it becomes a whole situation. You can't get up. I mean,
You
he's
can't.
no,
You can't. You'd be disappointing the cat.
yeah, and you'd be
But no,
doing yourself a disservice. It would be wrong.
yeah, but in all seriousness, there would have been times that I would have said that's selfish, that's lazy, you shouldn't be sleeping in the middle of the afternoon, and I say F that. I would like to sleep in the
F
afternoon. I wake
that.
up and I feel amazing when I wake up, and I took my damn nap and I loved it,
Mm.
and that's awesome. And now
Yes.
I do not guilt myself into like, if I want to take a damn nap in the afternoon, I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who's gonna stop you? The nap
It's not the
police?
cat.
No.
The nap police.
Jules, you are under arrest. This is the nap police.
Yeah.
Unauthorized
My
nap on a Saturday.
My mom loves to take naps during the weekend, and my dad makes fun of her all the time. He calls her the power lounger. And
The power lounger.
The power lounger. And my mom was like unapologetic about it. She's like, "No, I'm going to go lay down. This is my thing. I want to go do it." And I go, "Good, Mom. Good. She wants to go take a nap. Go let her take a nap because man, she's worked so many darn years. She earned it. You know, she raised me and my sister. She's helping raise my niece, her granddaughter. Like, you know, let her go take a frickin' nap." Yeah. So, yes, naps are self-care, and yes, they're amazing.
Here's where self-care gets interesting for me and a little confusing. Yeah. Because self-care is exercise as well and fitness.
Yep.
But god damn, I hate exercising and I hate working out and that sort of stuff, you know? But it's self-care. I know I need to do that to make myself feel good, but when I'm doing it, shit, it does not make me feel good. I do not want to go jog outside and come back in out of breath and then do my little workout in the garage. And no, god, it's just, it sucks.
Yeah. I'm so with you on this.
But it's self-care.
Because it is, well, is it?
Everyone tells me it is. I guess
okay, so I literally just read this today on Reddit. Literally today, where a guy posted in the fitness subreddit about how to combat being super tired after work and then going to work out. And I think the guy had he had a whacked out schedule where he worked like 6 a.m. to like 5 p.m. or something like that. And then, you know, exhausted, fatigued, going to try to go to the gym. And the top response to that subreddit post was, you make time and you put yourself in a mental mind space to go to work every day. And it's the same thing with working out. Like, even though you're tired, even though you didn't sleep well last night, you got to go to work. And so you find a way to get yourself up and go to work. And it's the same thing with the gym. And I read that and I was like, yeah, you know, that's how I feel about the gym. Like, that's how I feel. It's not something where I'm like, let's go to the gym and have fun. No.
Right.
But the mindset shift, and people were like, oh, that makes so much sense. Like, you just have to go and do it because it's something you do. Well, to me, that's another list of things of have tos in your life. You know, I have to go to work so that I can live and have money to do the things that I want to do. I have to take my car in for an oil change periodically because if I don't, my car won't run. You know, I have to go to the grocery store because if I don't have food, then I can't eat. Those are, I categorize that as a have to.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely like, I feel like I have to go to the gym because I want to continue to be an attractive human for my wife.
Yeah. You want to be healthy. You want to have a good body.
Do I want to be healthy? Do I want to have a good body? I think I just want to be at a perfect level of acceptableness.
I want to maintain my current level of sexiness.
No, I just want my wife to like still like me like 20 years from now and not look at me and be like, God, what a total slob. Look at this guy. I made a mistake.
Well, and you're also an actor whose craft requires you to have a certain physique and a certain look.
I found that depending on like how you market yourself, not being healthy can be good too in acting.
Interesting.
Depending on like what kinds of roles you're going out for, the types of stories and characters you want to tell. It's like, just take your headshot a certain way and have a discussion with your manager about how you want to be perceived, and it's like a totally different thing. So
interesting. You know, this is a side that I did not know. I like this.
Yeah.
I was kind of calling out the side of the business that you work in, which is just very much focused on physical appearance. You know, for me, it doesn't matter with me what I do. You know, I can look however I want to look and do my job, and I can podcast because really, you're listening to the sound of my voice more than you're looking at my face. So, my work is not laid onto my physical being.
Yeah.
But I'm with you 100% because like I have tried so many times to get into a routine of working out and staying in that routine. And to me, it's just like I am doing this because I have to. Because man, who wants to get super hot and sweaty and
Not this
exert
guy.
yourself? No.
Not this guy.
But there's a lot of people who do, like our dear friend Smoogie, who is a fan of the show and of your community and mine. And he loves to work out. And that's awesome. Like I totally, for him, working out is self-care. Like 100% what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I guess, the more we kind of hone in on this, I realize that that's self-care for him. For me, it's not at all.
Yeah.
It's just not.
So it's not one size fits all for self-care.
No. Yeah,
I mean,
that's a good example.
we could slap a face mask on you and say, "Hey, this is a self-care moment for you with your little Japanese like tiger mask on," and you'd be like, "Yeah, no, I'll pass." Or you could be like, "This is the best fucking thing ever." I don't know.
Mask ever. I love this mask. I feel so relaxed right now. But yeah.
Yeah. It really is one size. It is not one size fits all, I should say.
The thing is, the things where like
personal.
the lines blur though, because like, so Smoogie loves working out and that's self-care for him, but he also tries to incorporate that into like his streaming too. So if you're making like a career of streaming and you're trying to incorporate something that is self-care, you're turning your self-care into like a type of business. And then like, is it self-care anymore, or is it something you have to do? And like, that's when it gets a little muddy for me.
That is a killer excellent point, and that is a trap I've fallen into, is that I have tried to incorporate my self-care time of streaming, like streaming chainmail and diamond painting, and sometimes like my real self-care with it. Yes, I enjoy having people there watching me and interacting with me and learning from me, like because that is a form of self-care. But what I do that usually what I'm doing is I'm watching a Twitch stream or a movie or something where I'm not interacting with anybody.
Yeah.
And that's my time. And I found that it didn't last for me for streaming because I was missing the ability to just do it the way, like just flip on coffee while he's playing Heroes and I could be diamond painting and just being like my brain is going listening to him sing along to a song and I'm just like, yeah, I'm in a zen place, right? So that's a great point. And I think there's also a challenge for you with streaming and playing your video games that you enjoy. And where does the line go from self-care to I'm exhausting myself and burning myself out?
Right. I think a lot of people are asking themselves that question right now. It's a very relevant.
A lot of our Heroes friends are, for sure. Yeah. Gosh, there's still a lot of bitterness in my heart on that, and I think you have it too.
For sure. I think we're definitely in a better place, but it's
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. There's still a feeling of lost puppy in my heart. So I don't know. So
there's supposed to be an AMA today, wasn't there? Or is it tomorrow? Might be tomorrow.
Might be tomorrow.
The Reddit AMA about Heroes.
Yeah, I think it is. Well, and in any case, like I've seen there, like even this weekend they had a stream on for the TESPA Collegiate Series. Excuse me.
God.
And yeah.
That upset. I got so frustrated about that. I think I started talking in partner chat and I realized, okay, we need to calm down, Coffee. Take a deep breath. Have yourself a beer. Relax.
Well, you were upset about it because it was there and nobody was aware of it except if you followed the Twitch channel for Blizz Heroes.
Yeah,
there was no promotion.
So it's intentionally tapping into their already existing audience. Little to no effort was put into acquiring new friends, new faces, new people. And for the game to thrive, you need new people. You always need new people. I mean, that's what a community management team does. That's what they are. They bring
Yeah.
in new people, friendly faces, alliances, and things like that. So for the TESPA Collegiate tournament to be on the Here's the Storm Twitch channel and not advertised on the video game's launcher kind of blew my mind, like at what the
Yeah.
state of affairs are. It's very
Yeah,
disappointing.
and it blew my mind as well because I was on Twitch at the time and a pop-up came in saying that Blizz Heroes went live and I was like, "What is happening?" And then I looked at it and it was like no one had said anything about anything. We
Yeah.
didn't know who the casters were and then it was like, "Oh, okay, it's J How and Caterpillar? Like what?" And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was just it stung. We're diverging off the topic, but um it's okay. I feel like there's still gonna be some.
We need to go do some self-care after this to
We
keep our
do.
keep our minds in the proper place.
I know. I know. And the cat's been real good. He laid down when I started to do the show, but I have a feeling that once I move around, he's just gonna be like, I need to
Mm-hmm.
cuddle you, and I'm gonna be like, bring it. Just bring it.
Just
Because
bring
I
it. I
need the
need it.
cuddles.
I'm all about it.
I know. So, I hope that this conversation about self care has given you guys something to think about and maybe change some mindsets about what it is and how it integrates into your life. And maybe you need to have more of it in your life.
Yeah, if there's one goal from this conversation, for me, like my hope for people listening is that they'll do a little bit of self-reflection and work on better defining what self-care means for you,
Yeah.
because I still do that. I still need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things that I do that I think could be defined as self-care for myself, but then I realize not always. Sometimes I'm trying to do self-care and I realize I'm just making the problem worse by doing something that's not helping whatsoever. So just thinking about that and doing a little self-reflection and finding what that means to you, what makes you happy. And I hope that anyone listening ponders on that a little bit and tries to figure out what that means for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And knowing that it is okay to take time for yourself, and even if it is just a small amount of time in a single day, small amount of time in a week, if that's all you can muster up, then do it. Please, please do it because we our time is short, as we have seen very, very strongly in the last couple of days with the people like, Luke Perry from
Man,
Riverdale and 90210 passing away at 52. Like, you know,
such a shocker.
oh my gosh. Yeah. And, it's just, we get these reminders periodically that life is very short and our time here is short. And the time that we spend doing things that maybe don't matter as much in the long run and we spend more time with making ourselves happy could be better time spent. So,
There's such a good
yeah.
quote
And
from him. Did you see that making its rounds around social media where he was
I
talking
don't think
about
so.
it was something he was being interviewed, I think, during 90210 times, and he was mentioning that he doesn't want to be like a pedestrian standing by and watching life happen to him. He wants to
Mhm,
happen to his life, and he wants
mhm.
to step into the shoes of like that leading role of his own life and make it happen for him almost. It was a really beautiful quote. I'm not articulating it well at all, but it's very cool, and I thought I always liked him as an actor too,
Yeah,
especially
me too.
because I think he was one of the older ones on 90210, and
Mhm,
I got that from his performance. He always was so grounded and had like a sense of wisdom when he portrayed that character, and the same on Riverdale too. I love him
mhm.
as Archie's dad. So yeah,
I haven't seen Riverdale and I need to watch it, but I was a huge fan of 90210 because they were those characters were in the same grade as I was going through school.
yeah,
And so I like they were it was a huge part of my life and I was a Brandon crusher rather than a Dylan crusher. But I still like, you know, Dylan McKay was definitely he was pretty amazing. So the brooding Dylan McKay.
That's
So
super
yeah, it's
sad
gonna be
news. Super sad
it is
news.
super sad news. So
Yeah.
with that, I think that we will close up this discussion about self-care, and you can let us know about your thoughts and feedback about this discussion that we had. You can send them to podcast@heroeshearth.com, and each week we're going to tackle a new topic. Could be gaming related, could not be. But you guys are also encouraged and welcome to send just your topic suggestions as well.
Hmm.
And we want to talk about stuff. I mean, we're just here to talk about life from the perspective of gamers, because that's who we are and that's what we do.
Yeah, it's such a
So,
broad spectrum of what we can chat about, and I love that so much, just because we're all in one community as gamers, but we're all experiencing, you know, very similar life experience just based on, you know, who we are as people and what we're all going through and our particular circumstances. It's
yeah,
just it's always just my favorite part of the week is to hop in here and chat with you, Jules, because
me
it's
too.
just a little bit of self-care is happening right now. I feel like for me, it's just a very relaxing,
Yeah.
peaceful time for me.
You know, even though it's kind of breakneck for me to get home from work and do all this stuff and be ready to do the show, as soon as I'm sitting here and doing the show, everything else melts away. You
Hmm.
know, everything else is gone and it's all just about, to me it's cathartic. It's almost like therapy in the way, just to
Yeah.
talk about life. And then in the latter part of the show, which we'll be getting to very shortly, which is to talk about what's going on with us as individuals, because, you know, we're very appreciative of the fact that you guys care about what's going on in our lives and who we are, and you get to know a little bit more about the world that we're in. So, yeah, so like I think it's time for you and I to tell some stories.
Let's do it.
Hey, Coffee, tell me a story.
Okay, I will.
Tell me some stories. Tell me what's going on in your world since I last talked to you.
I'm super excited about Twitch Sings. Nothing has changed there. I love Twitch Sings so much. I think it's so fun.
Do you have a favorite song at this point that you just love to sing and you would sing over and over again?
I think it's the I'll make a man out of you for move on. I think that's my
Oh,
favorite
I
song.
love it.
I just love
That's
that. I
awesome.
love that song. I am gonna use that one for my submission to the Twitch Sings Stream Star thing, and I'm gonna try to do a clever, like, funny little bit where I'm like actually wearing a stormtrooper costume and I like take my helmet off, and it should be like a cute, like, funny little thing. But I just love singing that song. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is. It's like I think there's notes in that song that like resonate in like an upper kind of area of my vocal range, and they
Yeah.
resonate, they kind of vibrate in there, like on
Yeah.
some of the notes, and it feels good to sing it. It's really
Yeah.
interesting.
There are some songs, man, that you just find that's in a perfect range in your vocals and you just nail it.
Mhm.
And then other songs you're just like struggling
Yeah.
to get out, you know?
Right. And
It's
then
it's
and then
pretty
if you're
amazing how
struggling
that
to get it
works.
out and you don't know the song super well, it just becomes super awkward, and I get super self-conscious, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm done with this. We're done here."
Yes. Yes, I got Twitch Sings last week as well, and really self-conscious about releasing anything that I've made yet, because I shared it in Coffee's Discord because I trust the community, but
It was
it's
beautiful.
like, oh
It was
god,
damn
I'm
beautiful.
still,
And you have such a good voice. Well, I knew you had a good voice, right? But I didn't know your singing voice was also really good. So it was,
but it's very particular because I can't sing a lot of the other songs. Anything Broadway, I'm down. And
mm,
I can actually sing Avril Lavigne's I'm with You. I can sing that. And I did
ooh.
that one. And I did that with a duet. So I have that on my VODs. I
Wait, do
should
you
show
have
you
an
that one.
open duet of that?
Not yet, but I
Oh
can make
shit.
one.
I would love to do that one with you.
It's high, dude. It's
I know.
really high. But
Yeah, but
so
I think
there's
I can
certain,
drop it down an octave to do just like a male version of it, like
yeah.
for a harmony thing, for a
Yeah, and
duet.
that's the thing. Like, there's just certain songs that I can belt out, and there's other ones that I just can't. Because my voice is so classically trained from choir. So I can't do pop real well. It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to do some of the other pop songs and I can't. Anyway, Twitch Sings, you were talking about it and now I took over. Sorry.
No, don't. It's great. It's kind of important that we're talking about this right now because tonight is the very last night to sign up for the closed beta.
Yeah.
Tonight. And if you don't sign up for the closed beta, you're just going to have to wait until it comes out officially. So don't miss out. Go sign up for it if you guys haven't. The link is in my Discord. It's pinned at the very top of the Twitch Sings channel. It's so fun. It's so fun. And I guess I was having this conversation with my wife last night where we were just talking about how so many people are just so shy and afraid to sing. So it can be a very self-conscious thing. And she brought up to me how amazing it was that our little community is just so open with each other and free to share these songs. And it's a testament to just how close-knit we are and how, I don't know, I just thought it was so beautiful the way she articulated the strength of this little community we've made, how we love each other so much and we just want to hear each other sing. And I mean, none of us is like a freaking, pop star, right? Like, I don't think none of our group, there's no one in our group that I'm like, holy shit, that guy is going to be on American Idol and they're going to win. And like, we're not amazing singers, but I feel like all of us are just like, we have a lot of spirit and we enjoy singing. And I'm just loving watching everyone's performances so much. It's so fun.
It is. And that's the thing, because singing is so vulnerable. It's an emotionally vulnerable thing to do. And even to this day, I am very, very nervous about sharing stuff about my singing. Like, I've sung on podcasts before where we've done produced stuff, and I would be like having close to anxiety attacks when it would be going out there because I've been so afraid of being judged negatively on it, and that's just, and it is a very vulnerable thing for a lot of people. So to be able to just have, some people are out there doing Twitch things just totally to just make fun of it in a way, like to sing goofy or to be silly, and some people take it really seriously, and it's just so much fun. And as long as we can like do it as a community and have fun together, like Coffee and I are going, like, so the other thing I should tell you guys too, and this is something that happened, is that if you sign up for the beta for Twitch things and didn't get an email and you have the Twitch app installed, you go to your games tab on your Twitch app because it was there for me even though I never got an email saying I got in.
I've heard that from other people too. So step 1, install the Twitch desktop app. I know a lot of people just use a web browser for Twitch, but they have a desktop app. You can install it. Install the Twitch desktop app first, navigate to your My Games tab, and see if you have Twitch Sings in there available to you. I think those are the steps.
I found out last week that I had it, and I don't know how long I had it, but it was there. So, and I had signed up for it for months ago. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. So Twitch Sings, I definitely want to play more this week. Like, I'm actually contemplating whether we should play tonight for a little bit after this, even though I'm going to be super tired. But I have like that half an hour of time where after I do a show, I'm super hyped up and then I crash. So maybe I can get the energy in before the crash and do it. We'll see. We'll see.
I love it. I like it.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So what else? Anything else?
Aside from Twitch Sings, I'm playing a little World of Warcraft. Back into Azeroth now. I have a Horde monk. Just hit 120 and I'm grinding gear on him, doing some Mythic Plus. I think the highest we got last week was a +7.
Nice.
But it got me a 400 eye level piece out of the weekly chest today, so that was good. And I'm doing some arenas, and I guess I'm enjoying it because I've never been a healer in WoW, and I'm a Mistweaver monk right now, so I'm like trying to see if I like healing, and it's just kind of cool because I've always been a DPS when I played WoW. I'm usually like a mage or a rogue or a warlock or something like all DPS, and I'm enjoying learning like another side of the game. So
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
that's very cool.
Aside from that, it was Emma's birthday last week. And
yeah, and we talked about this in, where did we talk about this?
Was it
in
our
afterwards? Was it after we got done with the show? You were talking about making her something?
I think so. Yeah, I was gonna make her a cake, and I couldn't like really talk about it because she was here.
That was after the show last week.
Yeah, it was after the show. But I did end up making her a cake, and she absolutely loved it. She said it's like one of the best tasting cakes ever. But
Aww.
it looked like shit. I gotta be honest with you. I did not do a good job. Like presentation wise, we were not a go. We were not there. It was rough. So like I had a good sponge to it. Like it was a nice cake, and then I started to ice it too soon. It was too hot when I started to ice it. So the icing just started falling apart on it and getting real droopy, and then the cake started to fall apart a little bit too because I was trying to, rub the icing on it. It was a mess. I mean, it
was not Instagram worthy, but it looked delicious.
It was Discord worthy. I threw a picture of it in the Discord, and it was pretty rough. So Amorin said it looked like Harry Potter's cake, that like terrible looking cake that Harry Potter did. And I thought that Harry Potter's cake looked better. Like I was like,
I was so glad that you put it in the Discord. Like that's bravery right there. It's like I need to just put it in there for the community.
It was pretty
show
rough.
them but the fact that you did it and the fact that you accomplished it and it tasted good after like not being able to, like, you don't bake ever. You don't cook ever.
I don't cook. Yeah, I don't know. I know how to use Postmates and Uber Eats.
Yeah, well, it's a new phase of the coffee creation.
Yep, the coffee saga continues. It was not a coffee cake. It was a chocolate fudge cake.
And it looked amazing because, like, I would have eaten the crap out of that cake. Man, it looked amazing.
It really was good. It was really good. I'm gonna try again and work on the presentation, I think. So
awesome.
So well, that's all that's going on with me. Why don't you share a little bit what's going on in your life?
It's been a kind of a nutty week. So last week we had the show, and then shortly afterwards there was a little secret project happening where Workhorse and Brasky were coming to my home because we all live in St. Paul area of Minnesota. They were coming to my home to deliver a secret package, and I can talk about what the secret package is because I'm using it right now.
Was it a big package?
It was a very big package. It is actually called, it has a name. It has a name, Coffee.
Is it?
It's called the Beast.
Oh my gosh.
It's called the Beast. And the Beast.
Not every day do you get two large grown men to deliver a big package to you named the Beast.
In the snow.
Wow.
Okay, like so the real story of the hot drop was that I'm taking on a bit of a new role in HeroesHearth starting very soon, and that is to be the production, basically the producer of shows like Fight Night, because we had a wonderful producer, Vivance, aka Zach, who was doing all of the tech and the streaming and everything for Fight Night, and he can't continue to do that. And I'm taking over that job, but my computer was not up to snuff to be able to handle Discord and video and playing heroes and music and all that kind of thing. It just wasn't strong enough because I didn't buy a computer meant for streaming of that capacity.
Yeah.
So the Beast is a top of the line gaming computer that is owned by HeroesHearth. It is owned by the company, but it is now in my possession for my personal use as well, for all the production that we're doing here and for that. So I got this massive computer that I got to set up the other day, which was pretty darn fun. It is a beast. It's got an RTX 1080 Ti. It's an i9. It's a monster. It's a beast. It is called the Beast. So the Beast lives, and it is my home.
That's exciting.
It's 9.9. I'm like, I've never owned a computer this powerful in my entire life. So
man.
it's
jealous
crazy.
of that processor, honestly.
It's insane,
incredible.
dude. I was like ultra graphics on HOTS and just like it wasn't skipping a damn beat. Yeah. Yeah. So now everything's running properly. We've got all the audio configs ready for fight night in 2 weeks or a week and a half now. And first one will be mine. I'll be running the behind the scenes and more stuff like that for Heroes Hearth in the
did
future.
you end up doing it on Friday?
No, I shadowed Zach the entire time, and I watched what they did, and but I was there the whole time, but I didn't run it. He was, and the next one is going to be mine. We may actually have a test run of some sort, like a fun run on the channel for me to test out all the tech and make sure it all works, and then goof around with the chat room. But we'll see how that happens. So there's that. And the other big thing in my life right now is just now that I am feeling a lot more adjusted and my brain is in the right place after working for about a month now. I've been in my new job for a month. I'm working on a new phase of improvement, self-improvement, and that is weight loss. And so as of last week, I signed up for the Weight Watchers program. And I created a small community of people I have a personal Discord of people who have been a part of my streaming community in the past and who have followed my podcast work. And we created a channel in there and just started to really kind of leverage off of getting support from others in the community to try to actively lose weight. Because one of the things that has happened, like I have always been overweight. It's always been a problem for me. It's never been easy for me. But in the last 6 months, when my life went to shit, so did my eating. and it really did. It was like when I was worried about money, I was restricted on such a tight budget that healthy food is too expensive. And all I needed was comfort food. And I was eating way too much of it. And so now I've got my ass in gear and I'm working to improve that side of myself.
Now,
because everything else
is this self-care or is this not self-care?
Oh, it's freaking hard, man. Like, I don't know. I mean, yes, and I was going to talk about it during the self-care segment, but I didn't know if it really fit because right now I'm kind of clawing and spitting and hating every minute of it because I'm changing everything about how I eat.
Yeah.
And I am not liking it at all.
No, I read you loud and clear. That's how I feel about exercising. I don't want to go exercise. I hate every second of it.
Yeah, and all I want is chocolate, and all I want is Chipotle, and I am not having any of it. And
not even Chipotle.
When you count the points on a Chipotle, then you go, oh Jesus!
But it's Chipotle.
I know, and it's killing me. Like we are bonded over the Chipotle, dude, and it's serious. But damn. I have to, and so right now, what I have to do is I have to relearn. I have to relearn out of my bad habits so that I can start to be able to eat Chipotle in moderation instead of eating the whole thing. You know what I mean? Because I cannot not eat the whole thing. I just have to.
Instead of like eating both burritos, you're just eating like 1.5 burritos now.
It's been the burrito bowl, and I could demolish an entire burrito bowl. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it was just that's the thing, and so.
Damn, it sounds so good right now. This, it does.
We don't
have to talk about this anymore. I know this is bad. I'm sorry. Let's not talk about Chipotle.
No, I know. And so anyway,
congrats on that though. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Very cool.
It effing sucks, dude. I'm not sugarcoating any of this. It effing sucks. I'm hungry a lot. I'm not happy. I was talking to my coworkers today, and I said, like, I'm trying not to be grumpy, and they're like, "You're not grumpy," and I'm like, "Yeah, because I'm trying really hard not to be grumpy about the fact that I really want chocolate right now, and I'm not eating it." And but they were like, "Well, you're doing just fine," and I'm like, but every day they come to my desk and they say, "Hey, we're going to so and so to get lunch. Do you want that?" No.
Yeah.
I said, "Well, I could. And then I could, but I would make choices that would hurt me in the long run for the day, and that is what it's all about." And it's just me learning how to make.
when you're following a regiment like that.
Yeah,
So.
and I have to try to, and I've done this before years ago, but it was like 10, 20 years ago now, I guess. But now I have to relearn how to not, because my biggest problem is that I will just overeat larger portions than anything I need. And so my goal is to get it into a place where I can have the things I want and I'm not compelled to overeat because I'm stressed, anxious, mad, happy, celebratory, frustrated. I mean, emotional eating is a thing, and it's my middle name. Hi. So hi, I'm Jules
Emotional Eating
Scott.
RPG.
Yes. So yeah, I'm dealing. That's the best way I can say to you guys is I'm dealing. And if you want to deal with me, send me a PM. I can get you hooked up in the Discord and we can deal together. If it's a place that you want to be in, it's okay if you don't want to. But there have been people who have reached out and said I really could use the support too, and I'm down with that. Because man, I have really appreciated it from the people in the community. So there we are. There's my update. There's your update.
Yeah.
My gosh, this is a long show. It's not a Jules and Coffee hour. It is a Jules and Coffee hour and a half.
We started late. We
did start late. We did start late. So
it's not too. It's not too bad.
We do not have a topic yet for next week. I was not in the mind space to think of one today for some reason. I just didn't think of it. So
we'll chat about it.
Yeah. We will. And if you guys have a suggestion for a topic for the next week, we will do that too. So there we go. Anything else before we say good night?
I don't think so.
All right.
I mean, well, so you chatting a little bit about what's going on with you reminded me that I finally got this like welcome email from Nicole and Tim talking about their fitness program they're starting right now. It's
yes.
And there's like a whole, I mean, they've done incredible with it. You have to like create an account on this website and then you have access to all the videos. So I'm going to be trying that. And that started yesterday. So I'm going to do my best there. It's not going to be self-care because I'm going to hate every single moment of it. But it's, everyone has their own situation and their own personal battle. Everyone's trying to improve themselves. And
yeah, it's not necessarily, I would say, self-care, but self-improvement. And we may have to grunt and strain through it a little bit, but we're going to grunt and strain through it together in different ways.
And it's important, I think, for everyone to always want to be better. Whether we're talking about self-improvement or self-care or what have you, I think it is just a really good human trait to want to be better in some way. So
yeah, it is. And sometimes it's an uphill battle and painful and struggle. Like it is. It's not sitting in a bubble bath. It's not putting a face mask on. It's not playing a video game.
Don't stop.
I know. I know. We're getting really kinky on the show lately.
We are. This show's taking a turn.
It really has. So again, we'll take the exit. We're going to take the next exit, which is the ending of the show. Jesus. I'm a transition goddess.
Hey-o.
You know this about me. That's going to do it for this episode of the Jules and Coffee Hour. We hope you've enjoyed this time by the fire. And we're going to do this as we always do, which is saying goodbye with this lovely tune that goes like this.
Want to contact the show? You can email us at podcast@heroeshearth.com. If you want to connect with us on Twitter, you can find Coffee at coffeeclub_TV and Jules at JulesRPG. You can also use those handles to follow our personal streams on Twitch as well and get notified on when we go live.
You can join us for the live broadcast at twitch.tv/HeroesHearth on Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. Or find us in podcast form on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Pocket Cast, TuneIn, and Direct Feed.
If you like the show and want to support the great entertainment brought to you by HeroesHearth, please consider supporting them on Patreon at patreon.com/HeroesHearth.
Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, chat room, for being a part of the discussion. And until next time, with whatever topic we come up with, we're glad you're here.